presentation, I will talk about using PlayGuide for game-based learning, and the objective is to help second language students who are in 7th grade develop reading skills using TOEFL. To tell you a little bit about the game, PlayGuide is a simulation game, and in the game, the objective is to infect the world with a deadly bacteria or virus. And so if you are able to destroy the human population, then you have won the game. Now, in order to get there, there are a number of different variables that a player can control in the categories of transmission, symptoms, and mutation. There were several reasons for choosing this game. One is that it's available for both Android and iOS devices. And number two, it is free to download, and there are in-app purchases, but to start and complete the game, a student doesn't need to make any purchases. And the third reason is that it fits the science category in TOEFL. Based on the research and the different games that I tested, learning occurs through playing different games and using the information and skills in an authentic or simulated context. And so when you think about that in reference to building reading skills, students should do a lot of reading and learn a lot of vocabulary. But the problem that I had was, based on the different games that I tested, it didn't really require any type of reading. So that was, I think, one of the biggest challenges that I had. How to help students develop the skill using play, and then also the skills that they're going to need in TOEFL passages. So the methodology that I used was to first identify the skills that students would need in TOEFL. And these included vocabulary questions, reference questions, and these are matching the noun or the subject, subject noun to a pronoun, inference questions, the way that the passage is organized, and matching the highlighted sentence with the multiple choice. And some of the other skills that students would need are note-taking, agree or disagree on a topic or issue, and then an integrated task. And these three skills are primarily used for the TOEFL listening, speaking, and writing activities. The integrated task is where students will listen to an audio or watch a video, and then they basically have to take notes and then use that information to either write or talk about the topic or issue. The first activity is note-taking, and in this activity, students would play the game, and while they're playing the game, they just make notes about the things that they do. So these could include the country that they started the virus, the different methods, the variables that they manipulated in transmission, symptoms, or mutations, and then also possibly the effect that it had, or maybe the effect that it didn't have, and just a way for them to just jot down and record their thoughts and what they're doing in the game, so that they can use this information later for reflection or for discussion. The second activity is another note-taking activity, and this one is for them to watch a video and then make notes while they're watching the video. And as you can see here, the video topic is understanding the difference between a virus and a bacteria. In the third activity, students would read a passage about the Ebola virus and learn about the origin and transmission. And so this activity probably I would go over with the students together in class to go over some of the words and some of the meaning in the sentences, and then use the information and then apply it to the game. So I believe the Ebola virus started in the Congo, and I think it was started by bats, then it went to monkeys, and then from monkeys to humans. So using some information like that, then the students can use the game and basically start the virus in the game from Congo and see if they can get similar results, or if they got different results, then it could be a really good way to have a discussion on what are some of the things that cause the differences. And so it could work with this virus, but it could also work with a variety of different famous bacterial viruses that we've experienced in recent modern times, or maybe something in history such as the Black Plague. Activity number 4 is a vocabulary activity, and in this activity students are to research words from the game and present and share their information with classmates. And I say the word research because I'd like for them to find as much information as they can about the word. This could include definitions, examples, personal experience with the word, something confusing or something interesting about the word, and also an image to help illustrate the word, and possibly any other a variety of different information, whatever that they think is relevant that helps them to better understand the word. And so I guess the goal really is to have them think about the words and then find something personally meaningful about this word. Activity number 5 would be a good writing or speaking activity or discussion, and it's to agree or disagree that India is the best place to start an infection. So in this activity, students would play the game, and probably they would need to play it multiple times and try different countries to really get a feel for whether they agree or disagree, and then provide reasons for their position. In addition to that, they could use supplemental resources to further back up their claim. These are supplemental learning activities that can be used with the game. And as you can see here, there is a picture of a man, and his name is Nick Sakra, and he is a doctor, and he went to Liberia to help people with the Ebola virus. And while he was there, he ended up getting infected, and so he had to go back to Nebraska to get treatment. And after treatment, he decided to go back to Liberia to help more people. So really an amazing person. And so in this activity, what I would like for the students to do would be to play the game and then consider what Dr. Sakra would need to consider to not only protect himself, but also his patients. In this activity, students would play the game and use the experience for discussion. So the main objectives would be to have students learn socially from one another, but then also for them to see how their learning has progressed as a result of playing the game multiple times. So some of the things that they could talk about would be some tips and tricks, their successes or difficulties, and maybe some of them have taken the initiative to look for supplemental resources to get additional information about the game. I felt that Plague INC has a lot of learning potential, but in reference to helping develop reading skills, I felt that it wasn't the ideal game, because in the games the student is not really doing a lot of reading. So I think I would have to do more research and either find another activity using the game that's going to facilitate more reading, or basically do further research and find another game where in the game students are doing a lot of reading. So I think to do that, this type of game would have to do some kind of reading with a purpose. So that could be using the information to solve a problem, such as how to contain an infection, or using the information to do a scavenger hunt or solve a crime. One of the examples that was talked about in the book Play This, Learn That, was the Spanish teacher who used Minecraft to have his students communicate about business and trade. And I guess another possibility would be to use Second Life and use that as a way for communication. One other activity would be to get students to do learning on their own. And I think a way to do that would be for them to create their own personal learning path. And basically, related to the topic, students would use multiple sources to read about the topic. I mean, this could be, this could be text information, it could be videos, it could be images. And then whatever the sources, then they make notes about each item. So they could talk about some of the things that they learned, whether they thought it was useful, not useful, and then again share this information with classmates. So that was about Plague INC, using it for second language students to develop reading comprehension. I think it's a great game. A lot of learning potential, not only for reading, but obviously science. It's going to be very useful. But bottom line, I think I have to do more research to see what some of the other possibilities are for games that can facilitate reading skills.